story that Keefe D told us a decade later. Very few people know that immediately after Tupac is shot and that white Cadillac is fleeing, one of the death row entourage.
After watching the 50 Cent produced Diddy documentary, did it change how you viewed Suge's role at all? And people alleging that he was involved with Tupac's death?
Absolutely.
This is a major turning point. According to 50 Cent, the FBI wasn't just tracking Sean Diddy. Combs for what's happening now, they've been quietly circling something far darker, a trail that keeps pointing back to the murders of Tupac Shakur and the notorious Big in this video. We break down the newest claims coming from people closest to the story: bad boy insiders, investigators, and even Tupac's own family. Tupac and Biggie were once friends, both redefining hip-hop, both taken at the height of their power, just 6 months apart. And now, the people who were actually there are speaking up, telling pieces of a story that all seem to lead to one unsettling possibility. Tupac's death wasn't random, it was arranged.
Who's reputable, whose word that you can trust and honor, they're gonna spread the word. So we knew that it wasn't Suge because of what we heard Suge went through after. If you know, you know. Like, if you don't, you don't. So Suge basically was affected by the Tupac shit real bad. You get what I'm saying? He loved him like a brother. And I don't really think Suge probably loved nobody else like he loved Tupac. And I'm gonna keep it real. That's the way it was brought back to me. From street inside a car in LA. So, so many things that transpired since the Tupac situation, so many people's lives been affected, and Puffy just went on about his business.
For years, nobody was charged, and the entire case hardened into myth fuel for documentaries, rumors, and endless what really happened debates. But now, it looks like the dominoes are finally falling. In 2023, Keefe D was indicted, and that reopened everything. Because if investigators are looking for the last living link to what happened in Las Vegas, Keefe D sits at the center of it. The name that keeps surfacing alongside him is Diddy.
And when you hear the ad-lib, you see it turned down, you had to turn it up and single it out, and you heard it. I put $1 million on your fucking head. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all, which was the accusations that is the money that he paid Zip, right? If I'm not wrong, the money that he paid Von Zip was the money that Keefe. Only reason Puffy is not locked up is because Von Zip stole the money, which at the time seemed like a creepy thing, but came back to save Puffy's fucking life, because the motherfucker he was willing to pay turned out to be a rat years later, and that would have bit Puffy all in the ass.
And the most explosive part isn't just the indictment tits, what Keefe D claims happened before the shooting. He alleges that, about a year earlier, Diddy spoke in front of Crips and said he wanted both Tupac and Suge Knight dead, then later offered $1 million to make it happen.
So, when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, you know, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, man, I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. You know, it's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's what the agreed amount was, $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to Suge or Tupac?
Both
or
of them.
Both.
Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, you know, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the shit that he is doing.
But the claims don't stop at motive, they move into logistics. Keefe D also described a weapon hidden in a car, allegedly connected to Eric Von Zip Martin, a figure described as having close ties to Diddy. And Tupac's brother has said that if Von Zip supplied that gun, then both Von Zip and Diddy should have been investigated from the start.
Somebody would have to get on the stand and say that I saw him, he told me, and they want to have to believe them. So, do they believe Keefe D? If he told a lot of different stories, you got to realize he may have told more than 1 or 2 stories, because he tell that story now. What about the stories he told prior to this? You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to look at that. You're going to look at, okay,
That's where Kirk Burroughs' journals suddenly become critical. Days before Tupac was killed, Burroughs wrote that Diddy asked him to rent cars and drive from New York to Las Vegas for the fight. It's the kind of detail that seems small until you ask why flying wasn't the obvious choice. Burroughs documented everything: dates, costs, routes, and now those handwritten notes aren't just history, they may be evidence.
Security, Gene Deal, who was there to secure Puff, all the other warnings that we got that we needed more security, the snafu in the business world came in like this. You have a budget for everything that you do. The budget for Big in LA for the awards show ended that Friday night, Saturday morning, when a new budget started to get him from LA to London, where he would be taken care of with security, his friends, and everyone that he wanted to be with him in the style that he was accustomed to handle the press junket. When that didn't happen, that budget was never opened, the budget for LA ended, and there was a great need for security that Saturday night, and he was out without that security. The beef up. And we lost him. And in that decision, what it put us in, that decision put us in the worst situation that we could have ever been in. We lost our number one talent. We're on a West Coast where we're surrounded by enemies who told us not to be here. We really shouldn't have been there, but we were. Now we have to get out of there.
After that, the story shifts to the second tragedy. Just after midnight, Biggie left a party in Los Angeles. At a red light, a car pulled up beside him, shots were fired, and he was hit multiple times. He died at just 24 years old. And after his death, the aftermath raised even more.
He's talking about how he just knocked out some dude. I don't know who the dude is. I didn't know later that this is Orlando Anderson, the head of the Crip and all this crap. You know what I mean? So when Pop come in the room talking about it, I'm like, oh, word, say word, Pop. So he changed. That's when he changed from the orange button-up shirt that he had on, and he put on the green, like, basketball jersey type of shirt, right? So at this point, he's looking for the outlaws. He don't know where they at. And he's telling me and Kadada to chill in the room. That, you know, everybody is there outside, they wilding. It's Robert Wayne time. And again, showing his protection for us, he recommend that we stay in the room. But I came out the room anyway and ran into Suge. And when I ran into Suge in the elevator, he in there with his girl, right? So I'm like, yo, Suge, I know you heard how Pop knocked out homie. And before I could say homie, Suge gave me the silent, he put the finger on his lips to silent me. So that already gave me like, oh, let me tone it down a notch.
Questions. Reports that he planned to leave Bad Boy, legal fights over publishing, and a sudden spotlight that seemed to land on Diddy instead. Then came I'll Be Missing You, a global hit, followed by a career explosion one that Diddy later admitted was amplified by Biggie's death. That admission didn't settle anything. It intensified the suspicion.
Keefe D claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions. But most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there, things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, you know, the welfare of his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. You know, Tupac's on vinyl talking about kill kids when they grow up, and you know, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. You know, that's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Well, before you say that.
And the pattern, according to the allegations, didn't end there. Over the years, multiple people connected to Diddy were said to have been silenced, fallen ill, or died unexpectedly. Stories surfaced, lawsuits appeared, and then just as quickly some narratives vanished. Now, with the Keefe D trial approaching, insiders say the pressure is building toward one unavoidable question. Does the defense plan to point the blame back at Puff?
So I run into Suge. Pac had to fight with Orlando Anderson. He come upstairs to the hotel room. First of all, when we get to Vegas, right, he flipped on me. He like, yo, move. Cause I'm thinking when we get to Vegas, we're gonna turn up, it's gonna be all lit. But once we get there, he turned on me. Like, nah, Moo, I don't want you coming out. You and Kadada stay in the hotel and so forth. So I'm feeling the way. I'm like, oh, shit, ain't this, like, how you gonna bring us out here? Now we gotta stay in our rooms. So I'm rebellious, right? So I'm being rebellious, right? So Suge Pop comes in the room.
Gene Deal's point is simple. There's no clean physical evidence that places Keefe D at the exact moment of the shooting. What exists instead are statements, secondhand accounts, and alleged conversations. That's why the defense strategy matters so much, because in a judge trial, emotion doesn't win cases, proof does, which forces the real questions into the open. What ties Keefe D directly to Tupac's murder? And what, if any, that chain back to Diddy? Investigators have even referenced an informant claim from 1997 alleging Puffy hired Southside Crips to target Suge and Tupac Shakur, similar to what Keefe D would say years later.
You believe that Diddy has something to do with Tupac?
Anybody with common sense, no. Anybody with common sense, no. It's kind of like the John Gotti situations, right? So Gotti kept for so long, we knew who Gotti truly was. The Paul Castellano situation, that's his name, right? You know who took out the boss. Carmichael, I think that's his name, whatever. You know, but you can't prove it. We know of Puffy indiscretions. We knew he killed Tupac. It didn't make sense for nobody else to kill Tupac. And for so many years, so many people try to spin the narrative and was saying it was Suge, but if you was in the streets, you knew it wasn't Suge. Because you in the streets, you gonna know somebody that knows somebody from that side who
Gene Deal's point is simple. There's no clean physical evidence that places Keefe D at the exact moment of the shooting. What exists instead are statements, secondhand accounts, and alleged conversations. That's why the defense strategy matters so much, because in a judge trial, emotion doesn't win cases, proof does, which forces the real questions into the open. What ties Keefe D directly to Tupac's murder? And what, if any, that chain back to Diddy? Investigators have even referenced an informant claim from 1997 alleging Puffy hired Southside Crips to target Suge and Tupac Shakur, similar to what Keefe D would say years later.
So we in the kitchen and Pac is on the phone. I'm in the kitchen, Pac is in the kitchen, and the Outlaws, everybody's scattered throughout the house, but Pac is on the phone, and this is what I seen with my own eyes. And Pac is going bananas, yo. He's wilding out, he's cussing out Death Row, whoever, he didn't say, he just on the phone with somebody from Death Row camp. And he's going bananas. And all I hear him saying and screaming out is his masters, his masters. Yo, my brother head was sweating. He had veins popping out his neck, his head. He was at 10. And at that moment, I was scared. You know why? Because I thought that death was coming to the house to knock us all out. You know what I mean? Because again, we're in California. We're around amongst people that we're not quite understanding their culture, their gang lifestyle and stuff. You know what I mean? Again, we're New Yorkers. I certainly don't understand it. So I was a little afraid, I must admit, and I thought that death was coming to the house to knock us all out, straight up.
And so when you see Tupac on the phone,